The next Asian Winter Games will be in 2029. Saudi Arabia will host them, and it might seem strange to have winter sports there. They're going to build a big ski resort. But how will they do it in just 4 years when they don't even have the stuff they need yet? We'll explore these questions in this Superstructures episode. Saudi Arabia is working hard to make its economy less dependent on oil. They have a plan called Saudi Vision 2030 to make this happen. In this plan, there's something called the line, which some people think will bring a new era, while others worry it might be like a scary future. Besides the line, there are 9 more projects in a place called Neom. One of these projects is the Trojena. The goal is to change how people think about mountain vacations and make Saudi Arabia a big tourist spot in the region. What's Trojena going to look like? Well, it will be about 50 kilometers away from the Gulf of Aqaba. This place has really tall mountains. Some even go up to 2,600 meters above the sea. Even though Saudi Arabia is mostly known for its hot climate, up in these mountains, it gets really cold in the winter, often below freezing. That's why they picked this spot for a ski resort that will be open all year round. In Trojena, they're planning to build a ski village, a big man-made lake with fresh water, and something called the vault. The vault is like a village built right into the mountains, and the mountains will be like a roof over it. It's going to be an amazing spot with views of the ski slope and the lake. Trojena will have something for every season of the year. There will be a wellness season, a time for water sports at the lake, an adventure season with cool stuff like paragliding and mountain biking, and of course, a winter season for skiing and snow fun. You see, this part of the world is mostly hot desert, so nobody ever thought about having winter games here. But the Olympic Council of Asia had a tough time finding places to host these games. And guess what? Saudi Arabia was the only one who wanted to do it. So on October 4, 2022, they officially said that Saudi Arabia would be the host for the 2029 Asian Winter Games. Now, here's the interesting part. Trojena, the ski resort they're planning, isn't even done yet. We're not sure if they've even started building it, but the Saudi officials are super sure they can make it happen, and they say it's going to change how people think about this kind of event. The boss of Neom, Nadmi Al-Nazar, even said these winter games at Trojena will be a global event like no other. But of course, there are still challenges to deal with if they want everything ready in time for the games. Some people are saying that the officials' plan to finish the resort by 2026 might be a bit too ambitious. They pretty much have to build everything from the ground up. But let's also think about whether it makes sense to have the Winter Games in Saudi Arabia. Even though the mountains are cooler than the rest of the area, they don't usually get snowy winters. It can get really cold, but snowfall doesn't happen often. In the past 5 years, it only snowed twice. So even if Trojena gets a bit of snow, it won't be enough to cover the ski slopes all through the winter season. They'll need those snow-making machines to make sure the Winter Games happen smoothly. Neom's managing director, Jan Patterson, says that about up to 70% of the resort's snow will be made artificially. But considering the weather in this region, there's a real chance they might need to use 100% artificial snow for the event. This isn't something new though. Beijing hosted the Winter Olympics in February 2022 and used 100% artificial snow. It worked well in many ski resorts worldwide. The concern is about how much water these snow machines will use. For example, China used more than 1 billion liters of water for snow, which is like 1 day's drinking water for hundreds of millions of people. In Trojena, they plan to fuel the snow machines with water from the freshwater lake they want to create. To do this, they'll need to pump water from the Red Sea, which is about 50 kilometers away. It's going to take a lot of energy to move all that water. So the challenge of making enough artificial snow is making people question whether the project is really sustainable. And it's making Saudi Arabia's claims about sustainability look not so great. Critics from various organizations and even Olympic athletes are joining the chorus of criticism. They're also wondering if it's really a good idea to build an entire city from scratch, especially when it's going to use so much energy all year round. These critics believe that Saudi Arabia isn't really worried about being sustainable or protecting the environment. Instead, they think the country is just trying to improve its image globally. It's true that Saudi Arabia has been working hard to bring sports tourism to their country. They've hosted some big boxing matches, Formula 1 races, and even wrestling events recently. Also, a group led by the Saudi government just bought the English Premier League club, Newcastle United. And to top it all off, Egypt, Greece and Saudi Arabia are talking about teaming up to bid for the 2030 Football World Cup. So they're really making a big push into the world of sports. Despite all the criticism, Saudi Arabia is keeping its hopes high about finishing Trojena on time. They were supposed to start building the place last year, and for now, they're still aiming to finish it by 2026. Saudi Arabia has big dreams for Trojena, way beyond just the Winter Games. They're hoping to welcome 700,000 visitors every year and have 7,000 people living there all the time by 2030. They're even thinking about going for the Olympics in the future. But to make all these plans work, Saudi Arabia needs to find ways to make the environmental impact of building these big cities from scratch a lot smaller. They've got quite a challenge ahead to make it all sustainable. What are your thoughts on Saudi Arabia's Winter Games plans? Are you a bit skeptical? Or do you see this development as a positive step? Share your opinions with us in the comments below. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Super Structures for more exciting content. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video!